It's all about contributing to our well-being, to our wellness in life. And my opinion is that if we live a life with purpose, we're already halfway there.
Welcome everyone to Wednesdays with Wallis, and I'm on it today because I'm on a bit of a rant today because I've come across some, crap lately in relation to, getting older and older people, and I'm so sick and bloody tired. I've heard I'm sick and tired of listening to all the negatives and listening to people who spend all their time. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't have any empathy. I've got a sore knee. God, let me make a list of all the ailments that, I have and the things that are bugging me, and the operation on the knee that's upcoming, and all the nonsense that goes on as we get older and when we're younger. Somebody said to me recently, when you're 18, if you had this, and this, you would have fixed it. Well, go fix it now. What's the difference? And there isn't. It's up here between this and this, isn't it? The crap, the shit that goes on in here. I'm really on a rant today. Subscribe, support Wednesdays with Wallis. It's a great show. It's fabulous. Lots of opinions that I have, lots of things to talk about. But today, the topic of the show today is I'm an older person, not an idiot. You get that? I'm an older person. I'm not an idiot. And, I'm a bit over going to places, and I know the arguments and the debates about it will be, people are just trying to be kind, they're well-meaning, la la la, but I wish they'd stop it. Don't be well-meaning in that way. Just stop, treating us like we're ready for the grave. We got one foot in and the other one's on a slippery slope. It's simply not bloody true. And it's driving me bloody crazy. I just, So, if you're watching this episode, you're coming across an agitated, angry Wallis who is on a bloody hobby horse today, going on about, I'm an older person, I'm not an idiot. And, some of the things around that are, and I guess you've experienced it too, if you're watching this and you're an older person, you've probably been to family functions and things where people's voices change when they get to you. Everybody else in the room, if they're not older people, get greeted and, how you going, what are you doing? And it's a normal voice thing. But when they get to you, it's, hello, I haven't seen you in ages, a bit like, I'm surprised to see you. I thought you'd be dead by now. No, I'm still here and I'm still kicking, and I'm going to be here for a bloody long time to come, if I have any say about it, which I know I don't. But anyway, their voices change, how are you? And, it's lovely to see you again. And, la, 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 la. And, what are you doing? And if you're serious, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm, participating in what I think, in the scheme of things and in the world that I know it, are fairly serious entrepreneurial activities. And certainly, I'm in business, doing business. I'm home, with my little, knitting basket on my knee, knitting booties for the, the great-grandchildren or something, which I don't have any great-grandchildren, but if I did, they surmise that that's what I'll be doing. And I've got news for them kids. I'm not. And I don't know that that's ever going to be me. As far as I know, I'm never going to be sitting in a chair knitting booties for any children at all. That's just simply not me. And I'm, very aware of who I am and what I'm about, and that's not it. So I won't be doing that. I just want you to know I won't be doing that. But the whole thing about, people's attitudes, changing, and if you've probably had it. And if you're like a lot of the other people around me who I've been chatting with lately, it's not just me. I'm not a one out. I'm not I'm not somebody, that's totally different from the rest of the world. I'm the same as everyone else. Might have different dreams and aspirations, and I am my own individual person. Of course, I recognise all that. But I'm you. I'm like you. I'm the same as you. I've probably been through similar things or the same things. And, quite frankly, the way in which, as older people refer to us or talk to us or, say things to us, um, it just leaves a lot to be desired. And I really have to bite my tongue, and I have to, I have to rein in, what I'd really like to be saying, like, oh, stay away from me. That's all too negative for me. And you don't know what you're doing, because when you get older, if you have to put up with that crap, you're not going to like it. So don't do it now. Let's set up something different. So I'm on a bit of a rant today about, I'm an older person, not an idiot. Okay, so how do we change it? That's all the rubbish and that's all the crap, and they're all the things that happen. And once again, I've had these discussions with, people around me saying, well, that's all very well, but, how do we change it? How do we make things different? And you know what? I'm going to go back to what I've always said and what I've always believed. Speak up. We have to speak up. If we don't like something, I was listening to a nice young lady, gorgeous, gorgeous young lady who I love dearly. Her and I were having a conversation this morning, and she's a young lady married with a family. And, she was talking about, occurrences and things recently that had gone on. And, she kept referring to them as having to bite her tongue. And I thought, don't bite your tongue. We've got this attitude about, we pick and choose, like, oh, I have to bite my tongue. I can't say anything, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. And yes, look, I do recognise there's times when if, and this is totally an individual thing, I don't like to hear it when it's something that people feel they have to do and it's against what they really would like to do. But I think that there's always ways to communicate how you feel, and there's ways to, to say that. And I know you might like to say, I'd like to hit you over the bloody head, and there's times I'd like to, whack you with my frying pan. And you might do what people say, but you're not going to say that. I get it. You're not going to say, oh, look, most of the time, you're not a very, very nice person to me, and there's many times I'd like to have, whacked you on the bloody head. But you're not, I know, I get it. You're probably not going to say that. I probably would have, but you're not going to say that. So, you might approach that in some other way that at least won't have you swallowing. And that's what we do. We swallow all that junk. And then we wonder why we suffer from things in relation to the throat and, the chest and all those things, because we're swallowing our anger. We're swallowing our, the things that we shouldn't be. We just simply shouldn't be swallowing them. We shouldn't be swallowing those energies and that junk back into our system, because the body then decides somewhere it'll take all that energy, all that junk, and it'll put it into some rubbish bin. And, that could be quite a serious rubbish bin. And you don't want that. You don't want to be in that space. And look, I get it. you're probably saying to yourself, oh, what is she on about? She hasn't got my family, or she hasn't been in my situation, or, she's, all sorts of other stuff and all sorts of things you'll come up with. But the truth is, it's not true, because I have. And I've been in that situation many, many times. And in fact, I'm quite outspoken. My family know I'm outspoken. And I am. And I do it in the kindest way that I can. I think sometimes it comes across a little bit, perhaps a little bit harsh, but I try not to be. And I think that's important. I'm trying not to have it come across as, judgmental or harsh or whatever else. And I try and say it in a way that, conveys that. But look, it's like a friend of mine said many, many years ago, a darling, darling friend. And she was a very, very well-known international speaker of note, very, very well-known, and still is. She was the first woman on daytime television in Arizona. And in the days when, and this will give away our age, but in the days when, what was his name? Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote Your Erroneous Zones, which was his first book, and he had that book and he was selling it out of a little old Volkswagen that he drove and sort of, almost lived in. So she was the first person on daytime television in Arizona, and, she interviewed, Dr. Wayne Dyer in those days when, as I said, he was first, selling his Your Erroneous Zones before he became, famous. And lots of other, various people. She lived around the corner from Og Mandino. And if you don't know who he is, Google, because, he was absolutely fabulous. For those of you that do know of him, you'll know that he was amazing. And fabulous, fabulous man, gorgeous, gorgeous man, and who's passed away now. And, in those days, people like James Rowan and lots of really, really amazing, fabulous people. But this woman, who was this speaker of note, gorgeous, gorgeous lady. She said to me one time, she said, Wallis, when you go on stage, talking to people, and that's what I love to do. I'm a bit of a rattler on. When you go on stage and you talk to people, she said, what I've done over the years is, she said, and I've been there when she's done it, she goes on stage and the first thing she says is she apologises to, the 5% of the people who she knows she's going to offend, even if she doesn't know that she's done it. And that's what happens. You will. You just simply will. It doesn't matter what you do. There'll be people who'll be offended. I will today offend someone or a number of people, or maybe all, oh gosh, or maybe all of you. Oh, that would be just amazing. But I might offend all of you, but I'll certainly offend someone. Someone who is listening to this will be offended by what I'm saying, and they'll come up with some, story and something around why it's offensive, etc., and why they don't like it, and perhaps why they don't like me. And that's okay. I think I did a video one time on, I'm not liked by everyone. Not everybody has to like me. And for me to say, well, nobody has to like me. Yeah, they do. I'd like some people to like me. We all like to be liked a bit or in some way. And maybe, there are people who like me, warts and all. And I love them, warts and all too. So I think that's the thing about life. But this whole area of, speaking up, speaking our piece, speaking, saying, not swallowing all that stuff into our system and into our body. And I don't know whether you believe those sorts of things, but I do. And I do believe that, when we feel our own bodies, when we get the days when we're a bit off or whatever else, we can always, our intuitive tells us about those things. We know when we're, a bit like the old wheel, we're a bit off balance and, we're not quite in the groove. And that often happens because we're, we're not speaking our truth, or we're not being we're not living our values, we're not being our unique selves, and we're not connected to, something greater than ourselves, and to get outside of ourselves. Because when we get too involved with ourselves, too involved in that, that can become, a problem, and we can become, perhaps narcissistic, or, have some other, unpleasant sort of persona about ourselves. And we don't need that either. We need to be fabulous. We need to be fabulous. I'm encouraging you, and I always do. I always encourage you, every each and every one of you, to be, to be fabulous. Live a fabulous life. Be fabulous. I don't know what fabulous is to you, but look around me. I've got lots of bits and pieces. Oh, I see people in their office. This is my office, and I see people in their office. Look at me, I've got stuff everywhere. I see people in their offices, and it's all pristine, and it's all white, and it's all gorgeous, and it's all bland, and they've got a whiteboard up on the wall, and it's got particular, dots on it, and it's all impressive, and it looks good, and that's great. I'm not being critical of it. I think it's fabulous. And I look at that sometimes, and I think to myself, oh, I'd like to, have an office like that. And I think sometimes I'll, clear all this out, and, I'll, create an office like that. But it wouldn't last long. Kiddies. I'd be back to, adding something here, a bloody, angel or something hanging off the end of the desk, or a clown hanging up. It'd be something, because, that's me, and I love it. And I love being me. It's taken a long time. And that's what I'm saying to you. I want you to be you, but I do want you to be who you truly are. This thing about pretending that we're somebody else, pretending we need to be someone else. We don't. We just simply need to be us. I want you to be you, and I want you to be uniquely you. You are uniquely you. You are who you are. Earlier on the phone today, I was chatting with someone, and they were going off to, do something particularly, and I said, you're going to dress up. You could dress up. Oh, no, I won't be dressing up. I said, why not? Why not? Oh, no, I won't be dressing up. I don't need to be dressing up to go to the bank, or, la, la, la. And that's the difference. You can use it as a reason to do something. Now, this is deeper. I'm talking about your life here. You can use it to do something with your life. You can use what's going on to be the reason for it, or you can use it as the reason not to. And you've probably seen that over and over and over and over again in your own lives. You would have seen people who, I remember years ago hearing the story, and I may have said this on one of my other shows, and not remembered I said it. So if I have said it and I'm repeating, that can happen. But years ago, I heard a story, and it was about a couple of men. I think they were twins or brothers, or anyway, they were closely related in this particular family. One of them was, pretty hardened criminal, and he spent all his time in jail, and the other one was a lawyer. And when they were individually asked about their lives, what was it, that contributed to those things, they both said the same thing. The one over here, in spending all his time in jail, said it was, his family upbringing and the things that went on in the family, and, la, la, la. As you hear people using that as an excuse. Oh, it's a family, it was dysfunctional. Or years ago, one of my kids used to say to me constantly, I came from a dysfunctional family. I used to be quite offended. I thought, that's not very nice. And then I looked at myself and my own kids and our own family, and quite frankly, all families are dysfunctional in some ways. So, I felt a bit better later on about it. But back to the story. So these two guys, the one in jail had the same story as the, fairly successful or very successful lawyer who gave the same reason for where he was. So he's two people who used the same reason, same excuses, the same thing for what motivated for where they are. So they both took from that situation something different, some story for themselves to motivate them in their lives or demotivate them, or whatever way you want to put it. But the bloke over here, he had his reasons, and the one over here had his reasons. And when I read it at the time, I thought, oh, that's fascinating, isn't it? Because you hear it so often, people going, oh, yes, but you didn't have my family, you didn't grow up in the family I was in, and, it was this or it was that, or blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it. But it's up here. It's all about, what we do with it. So we can take something that goes on in our lives that's negative, and we can use it for motivating ourselves to rise above it, move on from it, go beyond it. Or we can get stuck with it and keep regurgitating it, and it becomes an old story many, many years later. And I've heard those too. And I've heard people regurgitating. In fact, one time I was listening to a lady talking about a situation or that had happened to her, and I thought that it was like, it had happened fairly recently when she was talking. And then later on, I found out it was, probably, I don't know, 20 odd years old. And I thought, ooh, fancy hanging on to that for 20 odd years and still, still regurgitating it, still going on about it, still talking about it. My thing whenever I had clients, because I used to take counselling clients at one time. And when I used to take clients, one of my things was when they used to go on with things, and it's all good. I wasn't, judging them in any way, shape or form, but certainly the question always came up was, well, when do you think you might let it go? And, it was entirely up to them when they might or never, or hang on to it. But I think sometimes when we're asked that question, and we ask our own question to ourselves, and I do that often with myself as well, well, when do you think you might let that go, Wallis? How long do you think you might hang on to all that nonsense? And it's a bit sobering. So if you want a little sobering moment for yourself, ask yourself when you might let go of something, or how long you intend to hang on to it. And there's no right or wrong in that. You can hang on to it for the next 20 years if you want. It's your life, but if it's having an impact and an effect on you, that's not what you really want. Well, then it might be time to let it go. I love you all. I think you're amazing. And I want you to have an amazing life. I want you to click on the link below and subscribe to Wednesdays with Wallis. We are going to be releasing our new Bold Not Old membership on the 17th. We're going to start releasing that, and that's going to begin. The first webinar for that is going to begin on, I think, the 26th of June. Don't hold me to it. I'll check the date and let you know next week. But that membership is going to be absolutely brilliant. And the byline for that is Entrepreneur Think Tank. So if you're thinking about launching something for yourself, doing something for yourself, you've been maybe considering it, thinking about it, unsure about it, don't even maybe quite know what it is, but you'd like to do something because you feel that you'd like to have a bit more security as you're getting older, well, then the Bold Not Old membership is for you, I can assure you. And it's fabulous stuff, and it'll be via a webinar each week with yours truly and some other guests, and we will be talking and walking you through how to do things for yourself, how to start up a business, and it's a great think tank. I'm pouring all of my past experience and knowledge into that, and I'd better get off here because I've rattled on for too long. Please subscribe to Wednesdays with Wallis. Love, love, love. I want you to feel empowered. I want you to not feel like an idiot around people. I want you to, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and, in the nicest way possible, stand up for yourself and, say the things that you want to say, darlings. I'm encouraging you. See you next week on Wednesdays with Wallis. And I apologise to those I've upset today or, said some things that you mightn't be happy about. But, oh well, so what? Okay, talk soon. Bye for now. Bye.